Austria finding their way to that gold medal match. Well, I'd like to introduce my co-commentator and volleyball world expert, Denise Austin, and she'll give us a little bit of an insight as to potentially what these teams need to do to find their way through to that medal match.
2024 calling. We are definitely part of the FIVB World Tour, the Elite 16 stage, the highest level of beach volleyball, and we definitely love it. Welcome to the semi-final women's competition. Number 2, this is our first referee, Joaquin Ventura Sobredo from España.
Joaquin Ventura Sobredo from Spain will be our first referee in charge of proceedings, and he will be ably assisted by our second referee, Giuseppe Curto.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Olympic bronze medalists and 2 times Olympians made it to the semi-final stage. 32 years young, 1.85 m tall, at home, at start, they were top 10. Now they have the chance to reach the gold medal game. Please welcome and make some noise for Swiss number 1, Anouk
Verge, 32 years of age, from Bern, 185 centimetres. What a career she's had over these 15 seasons.
2023, the silver medalist of Vienna this season, playing her 16th international season with a 5th place at the Olympic Games from Rio de Janeiro, Joanna Nader.
And Joanna Nader, 32 years of age, from Zurich. Hasn't it just been a pleasure to see her go from strength to strength over her 16 seasons. And it's good to see them back where they belong in the medal matches, deep into a tournament.
They are member of the University South California team, where Dane Blunt, the former Olympic champion, is their head coach. Player with number 1 is an AVP most improved player, the silver medalist of Austria 2023. Please welcome from Pittsburgh, Therese Cannon.
And there is Therese Cannon, 28 years of age, 191 centimetres. She's been playing some breathtaking beach volleyball over the past few tournaments.
Qualifier on the AVP Tour to main draw. She was 60. Now she's back with 21 years of age from San Diego, California, Megan Kraft.
Absolutely extraordinary for Megan Kraft to be only 21 years of age and be at this end of a tournament. Something to behold, and we have a fascinating matchup coming your way. The Swiss definitely have the experience at the back end of these tournaments, but can they stop a rampaging USA? Well, we're away here in the semi-final. It's Elite 16, a main draw action here in Vienna, Austria. It's the USA in the yellow crop tops. Therese Cannon and Megan Kraft taking on the girls from Switzerland in the red crop tops, the 12th seeds, Anouk Verge and Joanna Marta. My name's Damien Schumann. It's a pleasure to be with you for this match, and I'd like to introduce, of course, our volleyball world expert, Denise Austin, who will be just casting an eye over proceedings.
This is going to be an interesting matchup. Neither of these teams have got skin in the game for Paris, so this is really just about the emotional experience, playing centre court in Vienna, playing for a place in the gold medal match, and nothing, it does not get any better than this.
There's already a couple of big rallies. They're starting to make their way onto centre court here in this match. I dare say this will be going all the way down to the wire. And while they might not be going to the Olympics, there's still a huge amount of points and prize money worth harvesting out here. And to be at the back end of an Elite 16 event, and one that is at Vienna in Austria, well, that is something very, very special indeed. This is what all beach volleyball athletes dream of. And these 4 athletes, they get to experience it.
These 2 teams played back in the challenge event in Novali quite some time ago, so they've improved as a team, one coming back from injury, one just growing in terms of confidence and buoyancy. And this USA team off a brilliant result in Gestad, have got a really nice chemistry working between them. A lot of people talk about Megan Kraft and they say everything is better when she's on the court with you. And I talk to people about this a lot of the time. I sort of say, what kind of beach volleyball player do you want to be? Who do you want to be when you grow up? And Megan Kraft at just 21 has got a lovely personality that then brings out the best in people. So you can see that with Therese Cannon. She's playing some really good beach volleyball. And Anouk and Joanna, well, coming back from that injury, they fought really hard for the road to Paris. It was brutal watching their finish in Ostrava. I know that you were calling those very, very tough games. But it's great to see them back where they feel that they belong.
Yeah, it's such a tough one, the Olympic qualification cycle, and while everybody was talking about the back end of the cycle in that controversial tournament where Switzerland pretty much have to win every single game to overtake the other Swiss team, I think that they, if you ask them as well, they would admit that they had a pretty bad 6 months in there as well. So it didn't all come down to that last tournament. It is a year and a half's worth of qualification, and it's a brutal process. And having won the bronze medal, they know just how brutal it is to get there, and they'll be back in the next Olympic cycle. But in the meantime, they have a challenge on their hands. We're at 4 points apiece.
Therese Cannon starting to get the consistency that she was struggling with at the start of her burgeoning beach volleyball career on the World Tour. But now she's starting to settle into that force at the net and the hard work that goes into serving and getting into block and making these right decisions, forcing the traffic to Megan Kraft in this instance. It's so good to see yet another big USA blocker establishing himself on the World Tour.
Anouk with the ball in hand. What can she do from the baseline? Always scheming. Such an experienced player. She goes with a short serve. Kraft comes in and lands it perfectly in between the two Swiss players.
It's interesting to see both of these teams sort of picking their poison, sort of in air quotes, so to speak, as to who do they go against, what kind of offense is best suited for the defense. USA going predominantly after Anouk, whereas Joanna Maida is seeing most of the traffic throughout the tournament.
A wonderful swing from Anouk off that left side of the court. That set was definitely not where she wanted it. You have to stop and prop, just almost jump backwards almost, so that's a very good swing. This team split blocking more and more, which is always good to see. Big swing on the angle.
Nice one, Therese Cannon. She was a 2014 academic All-American player.
Nothing separating these two teams. Early stages of the first set, both feeling each other out. 6 points apiece. Anouk appears to be the early serving target. What a dig from Kraft. Unfortunately, can't deny Switzerland's second time of asking. Always very nerve-wracking for beach volleyballs when that paradise ball comes over the net, just having to control it. Anouk does a wonderful job. And that is a tough load serve, splitting Team USA. They deal with it well, but here's a chance for Switzerland. Again, those bump sets, absolutely nowhere near where Anouk wants them, but she is delivering. Here's another look at it here. Pretty much has only a one-step run-up, and she just has to guide that at the retreating defender, retreating blocker, I should say. Cannon unable to handle the heat, so Anouk has, well, she's in the zone at the moment. She has dealt with some sets that have been way too far off the net. Not an easy thing to do. 8-6 advantage to Switzerland. Oh, the cut shot with nobody up is perfect. Well, usually when a blocker retreats off the net, the defender steps in towards the middle and takes it, leaving that cut shot open. Here is Kraft. And she just absolutely hammers the ball right through the middle of the court. This wonderful athlete has levelled things up at 8 points apiece. Another tough serve through the middle of the court. And once again, well, all the balls are going towards the nook. I wonder if Team USA is thinking about maybe changing tactics, because she has dealt with all sorts of sets and all sorts of situations, and she's been doing quite well on side out. So I dare say Team USA at some stage will test out Marta. She serves that ball long. Cannon, ball in hand, full-time blocker. You always have to spare a thought for full-time blockers as they have to serve, jump on the serve, sprint 8 metres towards the net, do another max jump, and now have to, well, she's not going to have to spike the ball, but you dare say that with the miscommunication, Team USA get away with one there. Switzerland, they were on the back foot. Unfortunate miscommunication. Again, it's always a good sign, though, when both players going for the ball. I know it might seem like it's a bit of a disaster, but you'd rather have both players going for it than both players absolutely nowhere near it. Oh, that's a tough serve. Luckily for a knock, just slightly wide. Cannon controls the pass nicely, delivers down the line. Absolutely no chance of Switzerland being able to get a read on that. Team USA jog off to their technical timeout, 1 point in front. So an animated timeout from Team USA. There's nothing between these two teams at the moment. It's side-out volleyball. A couple of big rallies involved, but everybody playing at a pretty good level.
These are games I love, Damien, where nobody's blinking, nobody's giving anything up, everybody's hanging on neck and neck. Just got no idea who's going to crack first.
Tough, accurate jump float down the line. Both players have to just stop and prop, and that ball is tagged the outside millimetre of the baseline.
And this is the break that they're looking for, going after and getting the touch on the block. Therese Cannon making her presence felt, and a brilliant delivery. Megan Kraft just sitting back, giving herself a huge hitting window, coming in so explosively.
Well, there's been no monster blocks in this game yet, and this is very interesting. I dare say there'll be a challenge. The ball mark did initially look out, but I dare say the sand's going to be pushed over the line, so this will be a controversial one, Denise. I love these.
Sometimes you get a mound, don't you? And then the ball hits that mound and the sand goes back over the line. So it looks like the lines move, especially at high speed.
And well, the quicker the referees deliberate, almost always that means nothing is going to be overturned. That's the general rule of thumb. Referees go over, they ask the lines ref, did you see the ball hit the line? The lines ref will say yes or no, and that's pretty much all the first referee needs to hear. But it's a wonderful rule change, and that's a wonderful block touch. Unfortunately, the set just goes over the net, and Cannon makes no mistake, snapping on the angle.
What I do love about the way the USA team are playing at the moment is they are being supremely aggressive. They're not showing any signs of sort of backing off from the punches, and they are just taking big lumps.
Tough serve, a little bit of a wayward pass. Nook regains control with a nice high line.
Yeah, neither of these four athletes are what I would say renowned for their shot playing, but at some point against these tall players, if you can get your shot play going, which Anouk has just done, then you're going to take out them as a defenders because they're looking for the hard driven balls, and you've got to try and just craft more space especially if you're Switzerland.
And speaking of Kraft, another wonderful bump set. Just putting her partner exactly where she wants it. Perfect amount of height, allowing Cannon to just extend up at the ball. An easy high line in the end. Here's Marta's first look at it. And she goes for it with everything she has. Miscues.
Oh, it's so good when a team is just reading the room perfectly. They know Anouk's got, she's dialed in, she's starting to make the shots, she stops swinging hard, they haven't been able to take her out, they flip it, they go to make it, and they get the mistake. And that's where you've just got to have a real intuition about what's going on the other side, and just go, do you know what, I've got a feeling right now, and you have to try and trust your instincts on those.
It's always interesting how teams go about their timeouts. See Switzerland there with a little pencil case full of bananas and all sorts of things, caffeine gels. Of course, the Germans, they have almost a 3-course meal during their timeouts. And some players, if they even smelt food, they'd think about potentially just feeling very, very ill very quickly. So always interesting to see how individuals and countries go about it. The Netherlands, even if it's about 18 degrees, they'll have the ice packs out. Saw Switzerland, it's only mid 25 degrees. They've got the ice packs out as well. As Therese Cannon just, well, devastatingly comes out of the timeout with a huge monster block. And it's good to hear the Mind Block song come back as well. It's a crowd favourite. Gets the people involved.
And a wonderful defensive scheme set up by USA there. You couldn't see it on the replay as effectively, but the late movement by Kraft and Cannon to go into opposite zones, that's a beautiful display of the 3-block.
Well, Team USA, they go back to Anouk. She finds a way. Sorry, Denise.
No, it's just good to see Switzerland mix it up, just go on a different attack line. You've been taken out a little bit by the USA defense. You come on a different offense line, and then their defense is rattled for an instance.
Tough serve, well handled. Team USA's passing has been good all game, but there's an error on side out. So, is that a way in for Switzerland?
The elevation Therese Cannon had at that point there, it was one to go after really hard. But just a little over rotation, a little bit of daylight for Switzerland to come back in.
On the tight pass, Switzerland 2 defensive points in a row. That might be enough for Team USA to call their first and only timeout of the set. And all of a sudden, off the back of some tough serving from Marta from the baseline, Switzerland back in business.
And it was so important, that service pressure on Therese Cannon. They went through the middle, so potentially Megan Kraft had to twitch, and there was a little bit of an indecision between Therese Cannon. But that compound error, that's what we're looking for at times, and Switzerland have got it.
Well, it doesn't matter whether it's some deep house or whether it's a big sing-along. The atmosphere that you get at a beach volleyball event Most other sports around the world have tried to copy it, and as I said in the last game, failed miserably. It is a beautiful thing to see. And the next best thing, if you can't be there live, is being at home, enjoying it in the comfort of your couch on the BPT app, where you see all the games live and on demand, and you can rewind that ace as many times as you like if you're a Switzerland fan, and why wouldn't you?
This is a phenomenal serve from Switzerland. They're changing the shape of the USA defense every time with their service pressure.
16 points apiece. Team USA now under some real pressure. Nada slides across, gets a wonderful dig, but the two ball will not be denied. Cannon pumps that ball through the middle of the court.
I think it's very important for USA. They were playing phenomenally at the start of this match. They continued that. They put the pressure on Switzerland. Switzerland found a way back in, but you've got to remember how well you're playing and keep that buoyancy.
A little bit of a wayward pass for Switzerland. Kraft now with an opportunity. That is some sort of cover. Two covers in a row from Cannon. Can't put it away. Yes, she can.
And what a hang on from the USA. Therese Cannon loved that a lot. As well did Megan Kraft, because when you're shooting hard and you're really going after it, your partner's got to have your back. And the fact she's had her back twice when Megan Kraft tried to pull the plug, that's a brilliant testament to how much the USA are hanging on together.
Well, it's one of the most underrated and one of the most important skills in the game that as a junior you often don't work on or value, but you can just have a look at these crucial moments at the top level. Well, it can be the difference between winning a set and losing a set. Wonderful cover, and then the ace, and in the blink of an eye we've gone from 16 points apiece to Team USA being in the box seat to take out this first set.
I do love this strategy from the USA. They've predominantly gone to a nuke. They flipped Joanna Maida, got a point, went back to a nuke, but then they pushed Joanna Maida back to her serve, and now they've opened up a bit of a space in the middle, and they're going after it. Neither of them wanted to step up at a crucial moment. Both of them looking at each other. Was that yours? Was it mine? Getting a bit of indecision.
Another wayward pass there from Switzerland, and that's enough to give Team USA 4 set points.
Wonderful pressure serving from Therese Cannon, really going after it.
Serving 16. Almost every single ball has gone towards a nook, and that is some sort of dig from Kraft, just sticking out the left hand. And then the monster block from Therese Cannon. It's a perfect defense block combination setup. The girls are pretty pumped out there from the United States, and why wouldn't they be after a play like that? Team USA take the first set 21-16.
And what an amazing moment. I don't know, I'm sure the USA fans will remember the first point that the USA made an amazing defense. Megan Kraft got one hand in it. Therese Cannon turned, played one hand, and she said, oh, I should have done that with two. And there was the moment to get back that dig set from Therese Cannon in transition. Phenomenal scramble play, and what a put away. I'm loving the energy that this USA team, and having this kind of energy makes it quite daunting if you're Verge to play and Maida right now.
Well, Team USA heating up centre court, so much so that they have to bring out the water cannon just to cool everybody down in between the set. And I don't blame them at all, because Team USA right now are on fire. It was 16 all, and then in the blink of an eye they won 5 points in a row, and considering how tight the first set was, 5 points in a row at the back end is something I don't think any of us expected. And there is a huge amount of pressure on that lady on screen. Anouk Verge the parade right now. All the serves going her way. Did a pretty good job in the first set. They switched to Marta for one. So second set action here. Team USA with an emphatic finish to that first set. Switzerland, it's important they get off to a good start, and there it is with a nice line tool from Marta.
Beautiful late move from Switzerland. Just getting the pokey from Therese Cannon, not deep enough, not challenging enough, holding their ground on the defense.
Marta float serving from the middle of the court. That's a very deceptive float serve, short serve, and gives Switzerland the advantage. Anouk, high above the net, pounces.
And this is where Switzerland worked their way back into that first set, because they started to mix up their serve, they started to pull it around USA. So straight off the bat, they've reminded themselves, what did they need to do to dismantle them?
This time the serve doesn't go as short. Oh, and that's very close to a monster block, but good swing off the top of the block from Kraft.
It was great movement from Megan Kraft. She did have to go a little bit short, but as you say, it wasn't as short, but she got her legs twisted. She had to work really hard to draw back and came in aggressively, working the high hands of the Swiss, forcing that set close to the net.
Another wonderful left-handed dig, this time Kraft unable to control it. And Switzerland have started off in very positive fashion here in this second set. That set was well and truly more inside than Anouk would have wanted it, so she had to really get her skates on. Got her feet to the ball, good angle swing.
Jetzt haben wir Sideout auf beiden Seiten. Wie schaut's denn aus? Wo sind die Fans der US-Amerikanerinnen?
Loving the aggressive setting from the USA pair. They're giving it lots of height. They've both got big hitting windows. And you can see from that replay there, Megan Kraft not trying to get too greedy. She's looking for the hands. And then that keeps the defender out of the game.
We'll see Marta just having a think about whether she should yell at the referee. She didn't. And then she's like, no, you know what? I am going to say something about that set. And then Anouk also just had a discussion with the referee. It did look a little bit awkward on the replay, but didn't hold in the hands, didn't have any real double spin or anything like that, so Switzerland will need to move on pretty quickly. Anouk slides across the court, keeps the rally alive. Kraft with some sort of dig, comes through and buries it on the angle.
I am loving Megan Kraft, and how much must she be enjoying her beat?
Well, Joanna Marta and Anouk Verge de Prey, they just look like they've... sometimes it can be a bit of a disadvantage to be experienced because you've been in these situations before, you've got the weight of expectations on yourself, you've won a bronze medal at the Olympics in the last cycle, you're not going to this Olympic Games, but on the other side of the net, you've got Therese Cannon and Megan Kraft, 21 and 28 years of age. Cannon's, while she is 28 years of age, has only played on the beach volleyball world tour for 6 seasons. So in terms of that, 6 seasons, you're pretty much still, well, you're just coming out of your rookie phase, in all honesty, on the volleyball world tour. Compare that, of course, with the 16 and 15 seasons that the Swiss have played. Well, the exuberance of youth is definitely on the side of Kraft, who's just smiling every opportunity she has. She is loving being out here on one of the best centre courts in the world. As are those fans, just enjoying their Saturday, and why wouldn't you? Where else would you want to be? And if you can't be here at centre court, we hope you're enjoying the live and on-demand coverage on the VBTV app. Good overhead dig to keep the rally alive. Now a bit more of a control play for Marta, and that is an angle swing. I think she's just miscued it. It has gone out just wide, only missed by a few centimetres in the end. And that is heartbreaking for the 32-year-old from Zurich. In a good position to have a really good crack at a sharp angle. With a good down ball dig. Definitely wasn't a free ball, but she controlled it well. Frustrated with herself. Still early days of the second set, but you just feel that Switzerland, well, are under a little bit more pressure, and I know that sounds obvious because they lost the first set, but just in terms of gameplay, I wonder if that ball actually touched the antenna there on the side. If it did, I'm sure Marta would have complained about it, or at least made a little bit of a fuss. No, it didn't touch the antenna. So Kraft coming through, just chiseling that ball between the two Swiss players. The nod of approval to her partner, or the ball kid, I should say, to get the volleyball thrown. Time delay warning for Marta, not immediately cleaning her sunglasses at the conclusion of that rally. She barely gives any attention to that. Could not care less. Good pass. Good high attack off the hands. Absolutely deafening here in the centre court in Vienna. DJ is doing a wonderful job, just keeping the crowd on their feet. And that ball has gone out. So there's a little break for Switzerland. Momentum's a funny thing in beach volleyball. You only need 1 or 2 points to not go your way, and the momentum can switch very, very quickly indeed. But right now, you'd have to say that Team USA, well, they're still feeling pretty comfortable. They're still enjoying their volleyball. Switzerland need a block just to really emphasize the point, and there it is, right on cue. Marta sticks in that inside hand right in front of Megan Kraft. Good step in protecting her partner in the backcourt, and that's exactly what Switzerland need. Comfortable little 2-point lead early in the second set. Short serve is good. That has been troubling Team USA for the majority of the game. That is some sort of reflex there from Anouk. The rally continues. And Marta has just absolutely pumped that ball straight down into Kraft. Apology under the net, but smiles around because any volleyballer worth their salt absolutely loves hitting a paradise ball straight into the opposition. Yeah, nice little fake apology. They do, obviously, genuinely don't want to hurt anybody else, but if you had to tick a little box that said, would you like a paradise ball where you can absolutely crank it down into the opposition, you'd say yes every single day of the week as a beach volleyballer. So, Switzerland in the zone at the moment, had a couple of really big plays. And Team USA, you can just see their heads down on the end switch. That's the first time they haven't had big smiles on their faces, and that's a good little indication that they're just starting to feel a little bit of pressure even when they win points. Kraft is there. On the high line, I think that's just gone out. This will be a challenge immediately. It looked out to me. And so, well, the referee will get off the stand, confer with the lines ref and have a little look.
Yeah, it looked out on the replay, but yeah, in slow motion, it almost does look like it's in.
Well, very quick challenge if that was a challenge. And no arguments going the way of Team USA. Good refereeing from all involved. And that's a huge swing down the line.
And it's really nice to see Anouk, who's been put under a different degree of pressure throughout the course of the last 2 seasons. Everybody's been testing Maida out with that big shoulder injury and her recovery. Why wouldn't you try and just go after that? But Joanna Maida bouncing back, coming back strong, forcing the traffic to go to Anouk, and now she's really responding.
Big angle swing and an even bigger dig. Kraft can't pass her partner up on 2. And the monster block on the way back from Anouk is exactly what Swiss needed.
And this is such an interesting game. It's so physical right now. Both of these teams going so aggressively. And if they can just keep studying the momentum of the attack, then the Swiss block is big and it is determined.
It's a great observation from our volleyball world expert, Denise Austin. Not many balls have been shot in this game, and of course, as soon as we say that, they shoot a ball immediately, such is the commentator's curse, but this is right.
But those are the words that you're hoping that they have with themselves after they've been stuff blocked. We saw Rebecca go after it in the last semi-final. Here, Megan Kraft just has that very intrinsic, those conversations that you have to have.
That is some sort of swing from Anouk. She deserves to get up after that with a big smile on her face. She looked like all money she was going to hit that angle. I don't know how she contorted that back across her body. Well done.
And if you're Joanna Maida, you've got to say what a good set that was.
Maida missed a few sets early, but she's dialed it in now. Kraft almost the full-time serving target for the Swiss, having to deal with it, and Maida is there again in the backcourt. Kraft now, third time of asking. Puts it away off the outside of the block.
And that's a good movement from Megan Kraft, going on the back set, so then the wipe off to on that side is so much easier. We're not seeing that in the replay, but as a right-sider, sometimes it's harder to get the wipe off coming through. So going on the back set allows you this movement here, where you can see she's working the hands, and it's easier to get the rebound out of court.
Switzerland would love a three-point lead in the technical timeout, and they're going to get it. It always feels better than 10-11. And Switzerland, well, they can take a little bit of a breather knowing that they've weathered this storm, and they're in a pretty good position for the rest of this set now. 12 serving 9.
USA now with a different Switzerland in front of them. The strategy in the first set was perfect. They're going to have to rethink what they're going to have to do. Possibly serving that middle, trying to keep the Swiss player who doesn't take the ball a little bit late to the set, possibly going to Maida and just making sure that they kind of open up the space a little bit through them, or push her back to her side so that then they can put more service pressure back to the Anouk if they keep it on her. But they can't keep going too easily at Anouk.
Well, some of the locals with outstretched arms, just praying to the volleyball gods for more good beach volleyball, and their prayers will be answered. Mercury slowly rising over the day as it is on centre court. And Switzerland doing everything they can to give the people what they want, which is the third set. Team USA now under a little bit more pressure. It's a tough serve. Pretty well controlled in the end, it must be said, by Kraft. She finds a way.
It was. She was reeling after she got that pass. It took her a while to get her break steps in to be able to release. So what was really good about Therese Cannon is she just gave her a bit more time, a higher set, took it forwards, and again that hitting window, the USA, it's big and it gives them lots of opportunities to keep swinging strong.
Look, does all the work running behind, and in the end an easy little knuckle.
And USA not showing any signs of switching it up just yet. And Anouk is thinking she's keeping the USA out of their defense.
Well, we saw Marta shank a ball when it came to her halfway through the last set, so that'll be in the back of her head. So she has to be ready. She must be ready for this switch that's coming. Tough serve through the middle. This time, Marta on a much tougher serve, makes no mistake, delivers.
And what Joanna Maida did here so good was it was that middle serve. She knew Anouk was on her knees almost beside her, so she just kept the platform up. She didn't play it aggressively, so that enabled that link and that rhythm to sustain.
Oh, the cut shot is perfect over the cross-court block.
Nice thinking from Megan Kraft. This is where Switzerland aren't going to be able to get those really exceptional defenses. They're looking for you to go hard and fast into the block, or just, if it's too tight, go for get the pokey so that you can run it down.
Tough serve on the sideline. And Anouk makes no mistake.
I mean, It's not bad thinking from the USA, taking Anouk to a sideline after they've gone through the middle, so they're kind of trying to open up the space. But the response from Switzerland is such that they are not cracking.
Perfect from Kraft, right in the back corner in the first set. Switzerland started out at 50%. They had 20 opportunities, and they only started out 10 times. Out of a possible 13 opportunities, they've started out 10 times already, so doing a lot better at 76% here in the second set. And I know that seems bleedingly obvious because they're winning on the scoreboard, and that always helps, and that's the only stat that really matters. Switzerland ahead, 15-13. Oh, a little bit of a miscued two ball. The paintbrush shoulder swipe, always a bit painful, but you know what makes up for that feeling is a monster block on the way back.
I love it when you back yourselves up. When you've been dug, there's nothing better than, it's like going back to the tackle and getting the ball back again. And it's the attention to detail here from Therese Cannon. She's turned, she's not got her hips around, so she's swinging her platform, and that's what's taken the ball into the net. It's just the little details here that USA have got to be a bit careful of.
Well, even on that replay there, a little bit of luck for Switzerland. I don't think Marta was in a good position to block, but they deserve a little bit of luck because they had to weather some sort of American storm in that first set. So they've done that, and now they have forced Team USA to call their timeout of the second set.
I think it's all very well knowing what you've got to do, but it's the delivery of the Swiss pair in the second set. You will have had your game plan, it wasn't working, but they've stuck to it and they are just, well, delivering it in bucket loads.
Wir starten hier beim Dreizelt. Es geht im Uhrzeigersinn und die Welle kann öfter kommen. Wichtig, wenn sie kommt, laut sein beim Aufstehen. Achtung, starten hier. 3, 2, 1, die erste Welle.
Well, always absolutely fascinating when you see a youngish team, and that's what Team USA are, youngish, not quite complete rookies on the World Tour. They've had a fair bit of experience and they're at the back end of an Elite 16 tournament, but this is where they have to stay positive. This is where the body language is important. We can all have great body language and communication and all that sort of stuff when we're winning and we're in the zone, but when they're under the pump and probably going to lose this second set, this is where it's important to make sure that communication stays flowing, the high fives, all those little hugs you're doing between points, the holding of the hands around the poles, all that sort of stuff. It's all kind of useless unless you can do it in these situations when you're under the pump. And there it is, a good forced celebration, a hug, intensity, 85 hand claps as beach volleyball teams like to do. And it's good to see that.
And a well-managed timeout.
Exactly.
Ball hits the floor. Well, it doesn't actually. Maida putting something on it.
Tough serve. Anouk is there. And she just finds a way down the line. She is in the zone at the moment.
And Therese Cannon making maybe a late pull, but a decision possibly on the position of Anouk after she was sprawling and hitting the floor. And that gave Anouk something to hit at. So well played, Anouk. Good vision, seeing that peeling blocker.
A little bit of a tight pass. Switzerland will have an opportunity. That ball's gone over as well. A little bit of pinball, and eventually Team USA come up with the point.
Oh, this is one of my favourite games to watch, Damien. The physicality. I know there's a few errors going on, but because they're taking it so at the net, they're not shying away. Yes, they are getting a few pokes where they are making defences, but the rest of it are just proper lumps.
You love to see it. Here's the first little bit of different defense we've seen. And is that going to work for Team USA? I think it might.
It looked like a misfire, but maybe it was a touch off the block.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of a touch, I must admit as well. Of course, unlike everybody else, you and I on the VBTV app, we get the benefit of that slow-mo replay, and that was a huge touch, and Switzerland have every right to be absolutely furious with that. And what, as
Now,
players,
unfortunately for the
Sorry, go ahead.
referee, I don't think the video that's in screen is part of the referee's VAR. So good call on the timeout from Switzerland, because they can't kind of do anything about it, even though we can quite clearly see we don't have that video challenge in operation in the court. So that's a tough call for Switzerland.
It is a tough call, and beach volleyball, there's just these little fingernails of touches, and they're so important. And well, if you can't see it, you can't see it. You and I and everybody at home on the VBTV app, it looks pretty obvious to us, but that's where I would love first referees to just call over the second ref, call over the lines ref. Yeah, it might take an extra 8 seconds, and I know they get told to back themselves, but it just, if they call over the first ref, call over the second ref, call over the lines ref, hey, did you guys see anything? No, we didn't. And it's like, sorry guys, maybe there was a touch. I've tried to ask everybody I can. This is the way it's going to go. We all move on, as opposed to just absolutely infuriating a team. And this potentially happening, that could be a 2-play swing. Switzerland hang tough. An extra celebration to the crowd, the double fist pump, 1916.
Love that. Absolutely love what Switzerland just did then. Call a timeout, come back out, let the ball do the talking. And we see it so many times. People get caught up in that emotional angst and the fire. And sometimes you can play angry, but most of the time you just got to get a level head, reset. You're in the lead. You don't want to blow it. Let's just go and deliver.
Switzerland 2 points away from taking us to a third and deciding set. And Joanna Marta with the 360 pirouette celebration. She is fired up, and why wouldn't you be?
And even better, what a way to let just the ball do the talking. It's so important what's happening right now.
Well, it can go one of 2 ways. When a call goes against you, sometimes it can absolutely devastate a team. And I think that the referees unwittingly have just awoken a sleeping giant, as they have a chance to swing to take us to a third set. It's a big joust up at the net. And Therese Cannon spoils the party.
This is where Therese Cannon is really starting to come into her home, making a massive impact, waiting, making sure she doesn't get there too early, so she's got a bit more body weight transfer. And you can see the hands, they just held on that ball. Really live hands, absolutely loving this.
Big swing to finish the set. And Marta turns around to the crowd with arms open and says, get on your feet. How well do we just play in the back half of that set? And we are going to 3, and Switzerland are all sorts of fired up at the moment. Huge challenge ahead for Team USA to wrestle back some of this momentum.
I always love watching this coin toss, because it just tells you a lot about what's going on in the venue. Sometimes there's a subtle wind that is playing a part. We haven't talked much about the wind. It is up today, but it hasn't destroyed or taken away too much.
And I think that's
USA
also
have won the toss, and they're taking that end to the right of the second referee, so to the left of the head ref.
I think that's just credit to how good these players actually are, because when the team that is down the left of screen at the moment, when they are there, when they're setting, it does look the sets are drifting on ever so slightly, which means the team down the other end where the water action screen is right now does have a slight advantage. But again, at this sort of level, it's not too much, not to have too much of an impact on proceedings, but this should be a fascinating third set. Simon, one of the other beach volleyball world commentators, always does this to me, so I'm going to do it to you, Denise. What's your tip?
What, for who's going to win?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to put my money on Switzerland, but that's purely based on the second set. If USA can dig deep, yeah, they've got a chance, but Switzerland are at it.
I agree. The momentum right now is with Switzerland. Team USA just need to absorb some of this pressure, get away to a good start, and a net touch will do it. And again, that's exactly what we were asking Team USA to do. Even though they're under the pump, keep that intensity between both the teammates there with that celebration. Doesn't matter how you won that point. It's a net touch. That deserves a fist pump celebration and a big yell. That's good to see from Team USA. Talk us through that defense, Denise.
It's the movement, isn't it? You get one movement with a blocker one way, the defender's in the other, and then as the set goes up and the hitter takes their eye off the ball, there's then the shift to a different position. And it's the over-rotation by Anouk to try and find that line. She didn't need to do that much in the air.
Well, here's Kraft again, just sneakily starting in an unorthodox beach volleyball position down the line, faking as if she's going to run and get the cut shot, then coming back for the line. It's my favourite part of beach volleyball, the chess match of defence. I absolutely loved it, and I just love seeing it. And of course, when you're rewarded with a defensive point, doesn't matter if you look a little bit silly like you're so far away from the ball next time. And look at that. How good it is when a defender accidentally gets a block, and that's a big momentum shift for Team USA. Oh.
What I love here is that Megan Kraft, one, she kept herself out of the net because it was an ambitious set. She was taken in, and yes, it was an overset. But you have to get your brakes on. She tried to create a block shape, and in doing so, then she did enough to put the Swiss attack off, and that was good play by Megan Kraft.
I said it was a block to Kraft, so I gave her a little bit of an extra stat there, so I'm sure she won't mind an extra blocking stat as a defender. And Anouk under pressure again. The sets just for me aren't quite there, Denise, exactly where Anouk needs them.
No, and I think what's happening is the USA have ramped their pressure up again. So the pass is a little bit more hurried up, made us not as stable, and they're not giving us much height. So they're trying to keep it tidy when they're under pressure. So they're squeaking it through. Attack options are lifted. They're staying strong. This is where a little bit of a hide-and-seek block from the USA if they keep Switzerland in that kind of attack position.
Float serve goes long. Another little break for Team USA, and they just edge their way in front, just by 2 points. I wouldn't say they completely wrestled the momentum back, Team USA, but they're making some very aggressive inroads right now. One monster block, that could change everything, or a dig. Kraft flies in, does just that. Tight pass, awkward position to hit, and that is some sort of cut shot from Anouk.
Brilliant work by Anouk. They have been going at her. It's like a war of attrition against her. Her physicality is being challenged, her adeptness, her ability to do everything. She presses, she pulls, and she pulls out one of the hardest shots off the net. No defense there. Brilliant play by Anouk. Brilliant.
And while Kraft didn't win the point, then that was some sort of dig as well. You don't get any credit if you don't win the point in terms of for doing spectacular things during a rally. Well, that's just the harsh nature of beach volleyball. Marta still hasn't really been tested with any consistent serving coming her way. Anouk, having to shoulder the brunt of the side-out load, has been doing so extraordinarily.
That was an exceptional shot. It was out wide, so Megan Kraft knew it was coming to the diagonal. However, in this situation here, sensing where USA are going to position themselves, she's gone for a jumbo out wide. That is very good, mixing up what could have been a very predictable attack.
Tough serve, rewarded with the net clip. Puts Kraft in an awkward position. And again, just an overset from Switzerland in transition. Doesn't help their cause. Team USA maintain this 2-point lead.
I think what's going to be interesting as this game goes deeper in is the position of the Swiss defense. It's coming in, it's coming in, it's coming in. They're playing really tight on the ball. And there's a lot of space deeper in the backcourt. But USA aren't exploiting that enough. If they can keep their eyes open, keep the communication going when they haven't got the vision to hit and they need to listen to each other, that's where they might just keep pressing ahead.
Jump float from the left side of the court is good. It forces Anouk to run behind, and she finds a way again, just hitting so well across her body.
Really impressed. You know, they've been going at her a long time, and this is where you're expecting somebody to maybe capitulate, but she is stepping up.
And it must be said, for Team USA, they have to be thinking about switching the serve to Marta just to test her, because whatever they throw at Anouk, it is working, and she is getting involved at the net. Is Marta with a big monster block of her own.
And it's really nice when the person that's not involved, either they do it from the baseline or in this case, Joanna doing it at the net. And you've got to pick the points. This is where you step up for your partner and you get involved.
Well, Marta has done a good job of that. She's stepped up the serving. She served some aces. She's got some monster blocks in both sets now. And a little bit of luck, I think, on, not luck, it's not a setting call. It was a net touch, I believe. And Switzerland back in business.
Und die Halbzeit des Entscheidungssatzes, die ist jetzt erreicht hier. 7:6, wer zieht ein ins Spiel ohne Zugkreuz? Wer ist für die USA? Wer ist für die Schweiz? Dann holen wir sie zurück für den Showdown. Auf geht's, Steve.
Megan Kraft, coming out of the NCAA, has been put under pressure with her deep dish hands. So going after Trees Cannon, although it's a net touch, potentially might be an opportunity. She has tried to take it higher, but when you get tired, when you get deep into it, the old habits could kick in. So that potentially is something that they just got to be a little bit mindful of.
Switzerland, they've wrestled back the momentum, wrestled back the lead. 7 serving 6, an absolutely fascinating encounter out here on this beautiful centre court. And there is Cannon just chiseling through the Swiss defence.
And going back to Megan Kraft, what she did here was she just guaranteed it with a really good dig set. Don't put your hands up, don't get your feet caught up underneath you. A dig set, you're never going to get the referee involved.
Tough serve down the line. Here is Marta.
We've wondered when Team USA will test her, and unlike in the first set when she shanked the ball, both times in the second set and now in the third set, she's delivered.
This is such a good game. Don't think I've seen such a powerful at the net, really strong, aggressive. Usually, you know, with the likes of Nassau or Reiserschein or some of the defenders we have a lot of shot play and we're lauding that. But right now, this is one of the most aggressive semi-finals that we've seen in a long time.
Couldn't agree more, and that's from our volleyball world expert Denise Austin there. It is wonderful to see this amount of aggression and power. Creates all sorts of highlights. And what that also does is open up some shot, and this time Cannon takes advantage of the knuckle.
It was almost a double Swiss block at one point. Anouk Verge not able to put the ball. That was the one that got away for Switzerland.
And isn't that just a tale as old as time? The blocker expecting the defender behind them to run and turning around going, I can't believe you didn't run for that ball. And then defenders having a look at blockers going, oh my God, just leave your hands there. It can't be that hard. And that's just a battle that'll go on for eternity and something we all enjoy as beach volleyballers. What a dig. Anouk steps into the seam. Nobody up at the net. Can't quite get the ball down, but it's a tight set. Oh, and I think that ball's just landed out. Switzerland have come up with a big point.
And now we're getting a little bit more of the extended rallies. The jumps are diminishing. The set quality's coming off the net a little bit more. The defence is starting to get involved, but everybody's still going hard. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Well, Team USA, I know it's an understatement or it's just incredibly obvious, but they need to side out this ball, and then they've got a little bit of thinking to do as to who they attack. Marta, she's, well, any time she's been tested, she has delivered, but she's still, well, I don't know, might be a little bit colder, perhaps, than Anouk as we see a carry call. This will be controversial. Ugh.
Oh, you can see the rotation of the wrists on the ball there. That is what they're looking for. That is a hell ball. I'm going with that one, Dave.
Didn't, yeah, I tend to agree. It sort of came out a little bit awkwardly as well. And any time you've got one or even both of the things referees are looking for, I think that was a pretty easy call in the end. And sometimes there's often a lot of controversy around double calls or carry calls, especially at the back end of third set. But That was a very, very good call by Joaquin Ventura, first referee from Spain.
Again, Megan Kraft with the dig set bouncing back. She's just got to make sure she takes it high.
9-11, we're in the business end of this match right now. It hangs on a knife's edge. Anouk served again, doesn't quite get the pass. Here's a chance now for Team USA. Can they keep this rally alive? Yes, they can. Kraft backs up, delivers a perfect bump set. Team USA get one back.
And I love that, Therese Cannon, having to stay really strong, but then ultimately when you're out position, she just brings out a really smart shot, threading it through and underneath the Swiss block.
I've mentioned it a few times as well, Denise, but Megan Kraft there just backing back. Hey, that's so hard to do, to be running backwards and then still make that ball hover off your bump set. Very, very difficult indeed. And well, with the deficit reduced to 1, Switzerland called their timeout.
Start mal langsam. Hier vom Ö3-Zelt im Uhrzeigersinn. Langsam. 3, 2, 1, die Welle. Ja? Wir können laut sein beim Aufstehen. Ein bisschen schneller. Und ein bisschen lauter.
And Damien, I just want to go back. We'll wait for these guys to finish what they're saying. Didn't think they were actually going to say anything at that point. Just going back to the hands, because I said about Megan Kraft focusing on keeping it high. She can take it low, it's not an issue, but it's the speed of release that you've got to have. So by having it high, it tends to keep the referee out. It means that the referee's not looking for the same sort of carry if you've got your hands up in the air.
Well, here we are. Switzerland, they were forced to call their timeout, and what a response. Anouk crushing the angle.
Anouk continuing to remain strong, but the setting for Joanna Maida to keep that release going on. Look at the way Maida's had to back up. She's not even thinking about getting her hands. It's get a good dig set, get a good platform, put a peak on it, and let my partner attack it.
And we've been a little bit critical of her setting over this match so far, not quite getting the height, sometimes being over the net, and at the back end of a third set, she has absolutely delivered. And the monster block as well from Anouk into the cross-court angle, sealed it, penetrated perfectly, and that might be enough for Switzerland to hang on.
And as a bigger block it is from Anouk, and it's a really good block, but the position of Maida, look at her, she's in the angle, and then she's moving, so Megan thinks she's got an open cross-court, and then she hasn't.
Perfect defensive timing from Switzerland. Has got them 2 points away, and they find themselves with a 2-point lead. Team USA, you better believe that they're not done with yet. They need something pretty special from here on in.
And that's a lovely raise of the platform, releasing Team Cannon to go in, because Megan was on the floor.
Huge swing. Even bigger dig from Kraft. Can she put it away? No, she can't. It's a monster block from Maida. She gets involved. It's 4 blocks apiece for both the Swiss girls.
Oh, you have got to hand it to Switzerland. They have played this almost perfectly. The movement here, pressing in, always going early. They know America can be physical. They're looking for the momentum, and they have closed it out.
Have a look at the hands. Joanna Mata just enjoying herself on centre court. Maybe Switzerland now can just breathe a bit of a sigh of relief as they have 3 match points on the board. 14 serving 11 on the end switch. Can Team USA pull off a miracle? Kraft runs behind. And the high line is good. So what tactic can they possibly come up with here? What can they scheme? It's going to have to start with a tough pass. Anouk's been the service target. Well, that
surely
might be. That's always a good place to go when you're in doubt. Anouk's been on fire for the majority of this match. Marta's, well, she's been ready whenever she's been required in the second and third sets. 2 match points to Switzerland. Anouk She's been siding out all match long. And she'll do it for the win with the high line. Fist pumps in the air. Switzerland absolutely pumped. Team USA played a perfect first set of beach volleyball. And Switzerland in sets 2 and 3. Well, they have done everything they needed to do. They are back at their best. They won't be going to the Paris Olympics, but this is something, this will be an absolute highlight of their season, battling their way through one of the toughest